Well, Miles Garrett's camp, I think, has finally realized when the Browns say they have no interest in trading their superstar pass rusher, they absolutely mean it. So, what has Miles Garrett's camp done? They have called the Hail Mary. Browns 3D starts now. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things dog pound. Browns 3D on the OBR, brought to you by State Sharpening Mower Sales and Service. I am your host, Jeff Lloyd. You guys been flooding, obviously, the streams lately. We're seeing the numbers rise. We're extremely thankful for all of you that are coming out, checking out the nightly streaming content here, the OBR on YouTube, the OBR, of course, over on Twitch. Make sure you subscribe. The written content that is being produced at an insane rate by the staff here at the OBR. Appreciate you all for checking it all out as we head to free agency come Monday. When I closed yesterday, I basically said to you guys, I can't tell you what we're going to talk about tomorrow because, look, this is the Cleveland Browns, and you have no idea what kind of news is going to come and when exactly it is going to come. Well, it is now another effort. And I'm sure, I don't know if anybody knows, but apparently Miles Garrett would like to be traded. So if you didn't hear it when he was on Radio Row during the Super Bowl, if you didn't hear it, the Combine, if you haven't heard it through Aditi Kinkhabwala, if you didn't hear it from whatever other outlet Miles Garrett's camp has chosen to put information out, I have breaking news. Miles Garrett wants to be traded. Where do we start? Now, the latest one this morning, Tom Pelissero. And look, I'd rather these guys be putting out information about, free agency, this, that, and the other thing. But, we're going to continue to have these same guys occupied with the same story. That doesn't seem like it's going anywhere anytime soon. Tom Pelissero basically reports that Miles Garrett now wanted to have a meeting with Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy Haslam, to his credit, and certainly learned in his time now and being an owner in the NFL, that he is an owner. He's not a general manager. He is not an X's and O's guys. And it took Jimmy a while to learn the lesson. It certainly did. But Jimmy is a billionaire who owns a football team and has football people run it. That's what Jimmy Haslam does. And now this is just another attempt from Miles Garrett's camp. And the national media, look, if we can all, here at the OBR, and all you astute Browns fans can get on Google and start searching the salary cap and the ramifications, this, that, and the other thing, don't think for 1 second the national media can't do it or won't do it. They know exactly what trading Miles Garrett for the Cleveland Browns would do to their team financially. But you want to know what? It's a lot easier to get views when you go LOL Browns as opposed to reporting the truth and the actual information. And that's one of the things I absolutely hate about this business. Absolutely hate it. If the Browns were even going to trade Miles Garrett, the dead cap hit incurred $36 million. Along with that, that means David Njoku traded, Denzel Ward traded, Jack Conklin released. Hey, Joel Bitonio, thanks for saying you'll come back for a 12th season, but due to the fact of Miles Garrett being traded, we can't afford you. Enjoy retirement or go sign with somebody else. This is the ramifications of what would happen from trading Miles Garrett. And through what I'm assuming was a lovely crafted text message or email sent to Aditi Kinkhabwala that she put out through her Twitter account. Oh, Miles could just leave and go write anime. Oh, Miles could just go basically sound like just pack a bag and, go live in a mountain in Bali. But I mean, okay, if that's what you want to do, and the listing of the injuries, the calling out of teammates. I mean, all of this is check the boxes of the Hail Mary of, no one's listening and I want to be heard. I get it. And what Jimmy Haslam basically told you is leave it to Andrew Berry. That's where the situation is. And I have news for Miles Garrett. If he were to get this meeting with Jimmy Haslam, he would not like what he would hear. Jimmy Haslam is a stern businessman. This man once had microphones put in employee bathrooms. If people were not happy with working for Jimmy Haslam, it was listened to and they were moved on from. Here is what Jimmy Haslam does know in relation to his team. He pays more than any other owner in the NFL. What does he know? All of these restructures, all of these rollovers. Jimmy pays almost 125% of what would be 100% of salary cap money. I don't think Jimmy Haslam has the time, the inclination, and just doesn't care whether or not a highly paid employee is happy. Doesn't care. He is paying his product through the nose. And there have been some times where the Cleveland Browns have been more than willing to handle some of Miles Garrett's off-field stuff. They have done that for him. They have done everything they could for this player. Nobody is guaranteed a Lombardi when they get to the NFL. Nobody is guaranteed a chance to play in a Super Bowl, multiple Super Bowls, a Super Bowl championship. It is not guaranteed. There are several factors that led to today's Hail Mary of an attempt here from Miles Garrett's camp. And the problem is for Miles Garrett, I guess they just think if he keeps going hard enough at this, it's going to be something where the Browns cave. Andrew Berry and the Browns have said every time they've been asked, zero interest in trading Miles Garrett. You hear national reporters. There seems to be no legs to this whatsoever. The Cleveland Browns are not even taking phone calls on this. You've heard Andrew Berry say multiple times that the way I manipulate my roster is to try to put myself in the position that each and every season my team and roster is hopefully good enough to contend. They are finally getting out of the stench of Deshaun Watson. And the bigger thing here, and look, 95 wanted a quarterback change. Don't let him fool you. 95 wanted a quarterback change. He wanted this team to move on from the former signal caller who currently plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was in on this. Absolutely 110% was. They made the move. It blew up. Yeah, absolutely. Nobody's doing anything to dispute. And I'll say it again for the 1,000th time. Worst trade in professional sports history, except for maybe just what the Dallas Mavericks did. So these antics and trying to scream from the rooftops about all of this stuff and keep going at it. And now you're dragging and speaking ill of your teammates. You're speaking, ill of the team, the way it's run, the general manager, the head coach, threatening basically that maybe he could have surgery. Oh, that's some NBA Kyrie Irving move. I guess they got that one from LeBron from his time with Kyrie Irving with the Cavaliers. Listing the injuries was great. We could have probably put in maybe walking pneumonia or upper respiratory infection just to give that a little bit more spice. Everybody is dinged up in the NFL. Everybody. But there are more factors of why Miles Garrett's camp is now choosing to get even more deeper into this. and we'll continue with this because this is probably, without a doubt, your Cleveland Browns story of the day, even though it shouldn't be, seeing as free agency starts on Monday. We couldn't be more thankful to have our great new sponsors, State Sharpening Mower Sales and Service in Broadview Heights. If you are local to the Cleveland area, they are your one-stop shop for all things lawn equipment. Listen, you want to spend your Sundays watching the Browns, not cutting your grass. Let the guys at State help you get your weekend back. They specialize in both residential and commercial equipment for Toro, the brand professionals have continued to use for more than 100 years. Whether you're looking for a new, dependable time cutter zero turn, genuine Toro replacement parts, or expert service from experienced technicians who keep your mower in peak condition, State has got your back. They are veteran-owned. The Kane family are lifetime Clevelanders. They are lifetime Browns fans and proud supporters of us here at the OBR. Again, if you're local to Cleveland, State Sharpening Mower Sales and Service in Broadview Heights is your hometown team for all your lawn equipment needs. All their info is at statesharp.com. That is STATESHARP.com. Jeff Lloyd, Browns 3D on the OBR, of course, brought to you by State Sharpening Mower Sales and Service. Talking what is currently the news of the day, Miles Garrett. And if you did not know, obviously, Miles Garrett still unhappy and looking to be traded. Now, why has this picked up momentum from yesterday into today? Well, Miles Garrett and his camp right now kind of got dealt a little bit of a blow yesterday by the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals, and look, whatever's going on there is a whole other ball of wax. And I said yesterday, would you rather be a fan of the team that will pour money into its product or a team that just seems to not want to put any money into their product? Cleveland, the Cincinnati Bengals yesterday announced that Trey Hendrickson can explore a trade. This certainly is a direct hit to the market for Miles Garrett. The age is not much difference. The production over the last couple of seasons, not much difference. Trey Hendrickson has been fantastic in his time with the Cincinnati Bengals. Trey Hendrickson, for a team looking to acquire him, is going to cost less in trade compensation than Miles Garrett. To give Trey Hendrickson more money is going to cost less money than Miles Garrett. Miles Garrett and his camp can say it's not about the money. Nobody believes you. You get traded, or you were looking to get traded, almost all the time. What is one of the biggest things that goes along in a deal like that? It is a contract extension with your new team. Hendrickson is more affordable. He costs less. He is probably more appealing to a contending team than Miles Garrett. Because all of these talks, the one thing that most people don't really even bring up is even if the Cleveland Browns wanted to trade Miles Garrett, would anybody be able to come up with fair trade compensation? Would anybody want to give up fair trade compensation? You're the Buffalo Bills. You're looking right now. Trey Hendrickson is available in trade. Miles Garrett doesn't look like he is. You're saying Trey Hendrickson could be had for maybe a second-round pick. The Buffalo Bills have two. Done. For the Bills, that's a slam dunk move. Say you're the Buffalo Bills, and Miles Garrett was on the market. Okay, 2 firsts, probably a player, and then more picks afterwards. And then, and don't believe this for a second for Miles Garrett and his camp. You think Miles Garrett's camp's going to be comfortable being paid as the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th best edge rusher in the NFL? Don't believe it for a damn second. Don't believe it. Here is another factor that is working against Miles Garrett. What is this draft class deep in? Pass rushers. So if I'm a contending team Am I going to give up a boatload of picks? Am I going to tighten the screws on my salary cap even more? Or do I stay where I'm at? Talking about teams, certainly the 24 to 32 range of round one. Do I trade up, get an edge there? Do I stay where I'm at and take an edge there? Or do I put most, if not all, of my remaining eggs in one basket and try to trade for Miles Garrett? I have not seen one trade proposal yet from anybody who is good at this type of stuff, trying to put together a trade package where the Cleveland Browns would get an offer that they cannot refuse. Have not seen one inkling of it yet to this point. So there are a lot of factors that are holding back Miles Garrett and a possible trade. It's not just the Cleveland Browns. Yes, the interest would be there, but the Cleveland Browns are just not going to give him away. And with other viable options out there for these contending teams, it may be a lot easier financially and capital-wise to pursue those other options. It is. It's just that simple. Now, Miles Garrett's camp knows that free agency starts on Monday. This Trey Hendrickson thing, this could be done, my opinion, honestly, it could be done well before then. It starts Monday. If the Browns, who appear to give no inclination whatsoever to budging from the stance that they are not trading him, Monday is going to start. And teams, with the understanding and belief that Miles Garrett is just not a realistic option on the market, are going to go about their business and basically just say, well, he's not to be had. They're not doing it. So the musical chairs of landing spots for Miles Garrett is going to dry up rather quickly. They continue to push his camp. And that's fine. You can absolutely do that. But the actual and factual reality of this, and he can threaten to sit out and make anime, go again, live in a hut wherever he wants to. The Cleveland Browns, if they were to trade Miles Garrett, this roster becomes crippled financially. It is basically an expansion roster for 2025. If they keep him and he plays, there's a good chance that this team absolutely turns around from 3-14. If they keep him and he sits out, they can still maneuver financially. They can sign players. They can field a team. And he can go live in his hut wherever he wants to go and create anime. Fine. They are better off keeping him and him opting to sit out of games than they are trading him. That's the factuality of it. You won't hear it from national members because you don't want to know what? That may not draw as many views. That may not have as many clicks. It's facts. It's if he was not traded and sat out, the Browns would have a more competitive roster than if they traded him away. It's not lies. It's all facts. Now, let's get to, some of these guys. Do you think David Njoku and Denzel Ward right now are happy that this is going on and that their future could be affected? And let's be honest, these guys are all in the same genre of age. Joel's a little older, and I think Joel's decision was probably a little bit more family related, not wanting to uproot them and maybe go play one last year in the NFL. But Denzel, Njoku, Miles, all drafted within 1 year of each other. David, Miles, same draft class, obviously. Their futures right now could certainly be decided as they are behaving, being good teammates, by the one who is lashing out against everybody. So not only, and don't think Miles Garrett's camp does not know this for 1 second. They know. They know if the Browns were even to give into this and trade Miles Garrett, that basically every veteran in Cleveland is nuked. It becomes an absolute and total rebuild. So therefore, it crushes the locker room. It crushes the coaching staff. It crushes the front office. And Miles Garrett's camp expects Andrew Berry, who runs all of this, to basically kill everybody, take everybody out, just to appease number 95. I don't know a world where that makes sense. I don't know a world where, you don't have a locker room that would be pissed right now. A coaching staff and a front office, and I'm not saying they're on, if it's a video game, their last life, so to speak. But it's probably damn near close. And you know the way rebuilds work. The people who tear it down are usually never around to build it back up or to see the success of what the rebuild actually came. Miles is not coming off here well at all. And he seemed to be so entrenched in this city, in the culture of the city. Part owner of what, in my opinion, right now is the best basketball team in the entire NBA. That might be the next ploy. I would honestly watch out for that one. Would be, the Cleveland Cavaliers have bought out Miles Garrett's interest in their team. Because if you're going to continue to go to these lengths, my belief would be that would be the next one. Because Miles Garrett showing up to a Cavs game over there anytime soon, it's not going to look good at all. The one thing about Cleveland fans is you're either with us or you're not. And once you say you want to be on the outside, dead. You're dead to them. That's the thing about a fandom for a team that has not had a lot of success. They take stuff like this personally. And that is one of the things I have absolutely loved in my time covering this team. You've had some good. You've had a boatload of bad. But during the bad, you guys you stay strong. You stay loyal. You stay faithful. And to be honest, it's unlike almost every other fan base in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns fan base is a different breed. And when stuff like this starts coming out, it gets taken personal by a fan base. So I don't know what the end result is as far as, does he have surgery? Does he sit out games? I mean, it is March, so it's a little premature to start putting that thought out there now, isn't it? But what I do know is it does not appear, and we have not had any inkling whatsoever, that the Cleveland Browns are blinking on this in any way, shape, or form. If he wants to go, doesn't look like it's there. And for those, and I can't even believe there are people who are actually even suggesting this, well, Garrett has all the leverage. What leverage does Miles Garrett have? He has 2 years remaining on his contract. The Browns could then franchise tag him twice after those 2 years, which would mean Miles Garrett would be here till damn near his mid-30s. He's got a contract. He is not a free agent. His team has no interest in moving him. Not only that, the team would also tear up his contract and give him a new one. And a player like Trey Hendrickson becomes available. It's a lot more of an appealing option because you're getting about the same production at a much smaller marginal pay. This draft is deep in pass rushers, all working against Miles Garrett and his camp. Now, as far as the Browns and Garrett, does this get resolved anytime soon? How does this get resolved? The Browns continue with the path that they were on. I don't think this changes anything as far as what Andrew Berry and the rest of his front office staff have planned starting Monday through free agency, through the draft. I'm not going to trade you. I'm going to continue to build the roster like I thought, like I planned. I have money. Browns created $36 million in cap space yesterday. They could create another $50 million in cap space before you all finish your dinner, if they want. They have 12 draft choices. They can build a roster that competes. Went to the playoffs in 2023. You started 5 quarterbacks. Yes, the quarterback market is light and not very great, but they don't need, and that is the biggest thing that this team and franchise learned about the Deshaun Watson debacle. What they learned is they don't need a brand name quarterback. They need a competent quarterback. They need a quarterback who is not now uncomfortable in his own skin because of the public perception of him that he created himself. I told you all about this at the time. The move for Deshaun Watson looked like you were acquiring an extremely talented player. But the problem was nobody knew how said player was going to be able to conduct himself while everyone basically looked at him with disgust for the type of person he was. I don't blame Miles for maybe wanting to see somewhere else, go somewhere else. But there's a lot of want to in this world. And we all learn want to may be great, but it doesn't necessarily mean want leads to get. So go ahead. Again, where else can you go? I mean, are you going to show up on, the couch with Dr. Phil? Are we now going to take out radio ads? Is this going to be a new jingle that plays between, commercials on the radio? Da 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 da. Miles Garrett wants to be traded. Da 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 da. We get it. You'd like to be traded. There's a million things I'd like. There's a million things that all of you out there listening would like. It don't mean anything. For the Browns to completely decimate the entire structure of their organization the way it currently exists, after always taking care of Miles Garrett, paying him through the nose because he was worth it, understanding there was a Thursday night football game where he kind of lost his mind and just started beating people. The numerous conversations the Cleveland Browns have had with Miles Garrett about driving around like a nut job. The numerous times where Miles Garrett was given an exemption from practice or workouts. They've done these things for him for years. This franchise has always taken care of Miles Garrett. And the thing is, they are not going to destroy every other thing the way this team currently is, front office, coaching staff, roster, to accommodate one player, regardless of how big of a star that one player is. And I'll be honest with you, I stinking salute him for handling it this way. Everybody's lives and livelihood would be on the line. There would be change for everybody. So they're choosing everybody over one. and good for them. There'll be a lot going on. Anything more breaks. Brad is on after us tonight with, of course, things I think I know. Any news over the weekend, we'll try to jump in here. Everybody is ready to rock and roll come Monday. See where all of this goes as far as, free agency starting Monday at noon. Again, thanks to everybody for pouring out, last few weeks here. I'll tell you all, I love this time of year, but as far as this Miles Garrett situation, I'm kind of reaching the tipping point of even having to mention this anymore. It's probably why you heard a little bit of a, different tone in my voice here today. But the Browns are going to get back to work on Monday. We'll see if anything comes up for them before then. But the OBR certainly has you covered any which way, whether it's streaming, whether it is, of course, the written word. So thank you all for all your support here to the OBR. And, of course, make sure you're following on YouTube, the OBR, and, of course, the OBR over on Twitch. Browns 3D on the OBR has been brought to you by State Sharpening Mower Sales and Service. Big thanks to the Kane family over there, of course. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. And we will talk to you all after the weekend.